Alrighty, CG just dropped some new kit reveals, as you can see, 9 hours ago. There's 3 of them. But I'm doing this a little bit out of order based on how they uploaded them. Because Rotta's cool. I liked him in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. So let's see what this is all about. It's kind of crazy that they're already adding Rotta. Like, geez, we just saw him and now he's getting added to the game. But okay, right out of the Hutt. Alignment light. Categories: leader, attacker, Hutt Cartel. I feel like those are kind of some weird tags. First off, he's not really Hutt Cartel. I mean, I get it. His dad is Jabba, but he's not trying to be about that life at all. He's not really Hutt Cartel. And also, a leader? Why? We didn't really see any evidence of him being a leader. He was just being like a lone wolf. But, okay. Anyways, let's get it. No longer the helpless child once hunted during the Clone Wars, Rotta has embraced spectacle and raw power to forge a reputation all his own. Whether commanding the crowd or crushing challengers beneath overwhelming force, Rotta fights to carve out a legacy no longer defined by his father. This character development for Rotta was something that we really wanted to reflect in his kit and in his ally choices. So you make him Hutt Cartel, that makes sense. Rotta could lead the Hutt Cartel if he so chooses, but he prefers to take the field alone. With this in mind, we wanted Rotta to feel like the gladiator he is in solo scenarios, where he truly comes into his own and his individuality takes center stage. So what does this mean? They're kind of making is his kit going to be like Wampa with his Omicron in Gran Arena? Something like that? Basic ability. Cleave the unworthy. Final text. Deal physical damage to target enemy twice. Makes sense, he's got 2 cleaves. And inflict 1 stack of bleed, max 6, which can't be evaded or resisted until the end of the encounter. Healing immunity and speed down for 1 turn. Reduce the target enemy's defense by 20%, stacking, which can't be resisted until the end of battle. If Rotta the Hutt was the only ally at the start of battle, reduce the target enemy's critical chance by 10%, max 50%, and Rotta gains 20 speed, max 100 until the end of battle. Rotta also recovers 10% health and protection. Oh, so as long as he's on the team by himself, he's healing himself. That's cool. Synergies. This ability really supports the rest of his kit in that it sets up bleed stacks for his special 2, reduces the enemy's defense in anticipation of his larger moves being used, and allows him some additional sustain in solo scenarios. Inspiration. When we first saw the trailer for the movie, we saw those axes in his hands and knew we wanted to use them. However, Rotta does a lot of counterattacking, and so we also wanted this ability to feel fast. Instead of having Rotta move to the enemy side and hit an opponent, we decided to have him throw his axes, showing off his incredible strength and helping to prevent long animations in matches. Clarity. How you want to rotate your skills with Rotta tends to vary by matchup and squad lineup. If Rotta is alone on the field, sometimes this is the move you want to start with to start building up speed against your opponent. Special 1, knock the motherfucker dead. Final tags. Deal physical damage to all enemies, dispel all buffs from them, inflict 2 stacks of bleed, max 6, until the end of the encounter, and off balance on them for 2 turns. If all enemies are inflicted with off balance, Rotta gains a bonus turn and 40% offense for 1 turn. If Rotta the Hutt had a full squad of Hutt Cartel allies at the start of battle, all other allies assist and tank allies taunt for 2 turns. If Rotta is below 50% health, this taunt can't be dispelled. Okay. This is kind of weird. So his first move is for if he's by himself. This move, though, you want him to be a part of a team for it to be better, which is pretty solid. I mean, all other allies assist and tanks taunt. Like, that's wicked solid. But it's just weird that it's inconsistent. I guess they're just making the kit so that way then it works either way. I don't know. Seems kind of strange, though. They could also do it like, make it, hey, if he's by himself, this happens. If he's with a team, this happens. I don't know. Weird to flip-flop it like that, but okay. Oh, apparently this is an Omicron? Yeah, they're not telling me anything. Omicron, they're not telling me cooldowns, they're not telling me, Zetas. Ugh. Anyways, apparently an Omicron. While in Grand Arenas, if all allies were Hutt Cartel at the start of the battle, okay, so you need to have a full team of Hutt Cartel, This ability can't be evaded or resisted. If Rotta was the only ally at the start of battle, he inflicts an additional stack of bleed, max 6, on all enemies, removes 100% turn meter, 10% turn meter from them, reduces the cooldown of Showboat by 1, and gains 50% offense for 1 turn instead. Alright, that's cool. It doesn't seem like very Omicron worthy, but alright. You know, there's a lot of opportunity to inflict bleed in his kit, but it's like only a max of 6. I feel like he'll be maxing out like pretty dang quickly. I don't really like that. It feels like you don't get a proper, there's so many opportunities for the bleed, you know what I mean? And then you're just gonna cap out at 6? It feels kind of lame. Anyways, synergies. This ability sets up Showboat with extra stacks of bleed, off balance, and with some extra offensive power to make it feel impactful when that ability gets used. As a fairly quick ability, it's also great for keeping buffs off of the enemy squad. In scenarios where he brings in allies with him, this ability allows him to redirect attention away from himself onto his tank and to focus down a target enemy with the assist. With the mass assist, actually. It's everybody, so that's pretty solid. Inspiration. When the stakes are high, you use what you have to get through, and it made sense to us that Rotta would make use of his tail in a fight to surprise opponents when they thought his guard was actually down. Well, guess what? You guys didn't give us any gifts or a mother effing thumbnail style picture thing like usual, so we didn't know that he used his tail. He never said anything about that. What was this called? Yeah, this is just called Knock 'em Dead. I guess we're supposed to assume that Knock 'em Dead means use the tail. Anyways, fact/clarity. If I call my allies to assist, will it prevent me from getting the bonus turn for everybody getting off balance? No, you will still get a bonus turn for landing the off balance, even if your allies immediately trigger its effects by assisting. It says if Rotta had a full squad of Hutt Cartel allies. What does this mean? It means that in 3v3 Grand Arenas, there are 3 characters in the squad, and they are all Hutt Cartel. Similarly, 5, blah, blah, blah. That is such a stupid question. Who would question that? If you had a full squad of Hutt Cartel, what the fuck do you think that means? Are you that slow? Jeez. Special 2, Showboat. And he's good at that. Final text. Deal physical damage to all enemies. Trigger all stacks of bleed on them. Detonate all thermal detonators on them. And stun them for 1 turn. If Rotta was the only ally at the start of battle, the stun can't be evaded or resisted. If any enemy is defeated by this ability, all Hutt Cartel allies gain 20% turn meter. So does that mean himself? Like if he's in here by himself, does he get the 20% turn meter? You know, it'd be nice if they told us the cooldowns and stuff. It's kind of lame. Jesus, kit reveal. I'm not saying the kit reveal per se is terrible. I'm just saying, like, this presentation is terrible. No gifts, no extra details, no nothing. Like, come on. Anyways, while in Grand Arena, so this also has an Omicron. If all allies were Hutt Cartel at the start of battle, tank allies recover 10% protection for each enemy damaged by this ability, and attacker allies gain 10% defense penetration, stacking max 50% each time this ability is used. If Rotta the Hutt was the only ally at the start of battle, this ability instantly defeats enemies below 40% health. Alright, so that's kind of like Savage Oppress's move. I think you gotta be at 25% health or less, and his special ability is like an insta defeat instead. Excludes GLs and raid bosses, and Rotta recovers 50% health and protection for each enemy defeated by this ability. Oh, so each time he does it, he's getting healthier. That's cool. So I was gonna say it doesn't seem that great when I read the first part, because it's not for an Omicron, but then this part, yeah, that's not bad for an Omicron if he's by himself. Cool. Synergies, again, depending on what enemy squad you're facing, sometimes you'll want to open with this to land the stuns on all enemies, but afterwards should be timed with his other abilities to take advantage of all of the other damaging effects he stacks. Inspiration. Every showman needs a signature move, right? We wanted this one to feel like a big move for Rotta, where if you set the enemy squad up well with his basic and knock him dead, this could defeat a couple of enemies at once and allow him to really snowball that momentum into the rest of the fight. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. It really could. One after another, boom, bam, done. What was this one called? Showboat. It's kind of funny, taunting. A move that sounds like all about taunting and stuff, and it can do essentially an insta-defeat, kinda. It's kind of silly. Unique one, Pedunky Muffkin. Alright, whatever that means. Final text. Ally Hutt Cartel tanks taunt for 2 turns at the start of battle. Whenever dark side support allies attack an enemy, all allies recover 10% health, protection, and turn meter. Dark side Hutt Cartel allies and Rotta can ignore taunt effects during their turn. Okay, that's good. So F you and your stupid taunts. I hate taunts. You always get stuck behind those and then, ugh. So this is cool. You can get right around it. See ya, F you and your taunt. All Hutt Cartel allies are immune to cooldown increase, and Rotta is immune to thermal detonators? Okay, it's pretty cool. I mean, they're not that strong, but I was just thinking like a team like Jawa, you know? Jawas could stack a lot of thermal detonators and do nothing to Rotta. If Rotta the Hutt had a full squad of Hutt Cartel allies at the start of battle, whenever they have turn meter removed, Rotta has a 50% chance to gain a bonus turn. Oh, so it's almost like he's like, you know what, fuck you. You're not going to take my friend's turn meter away. I'm just going to do this then. If Rotta the Hutt was the only ally at the start of battle, whenever an enemy removes turn meter from him, he deals damage to all enemies equal to 10% of their max health. This damage can't defeat enemies. And has an additional 30% chance to get a bonus turn. Oh, wow. It's not very high of a chance, but still. Alright, this mother effer also has a omicron, which says, while in Grand Arenas, if all allies are Hutt Cartel at the start of battle, all allies gain 50% max health. If all of Rotta's other allies are Dark Side, whenever they or Rotta are inflicted with a debuff, they inflict a thermal detonator on the enemy that applied it for 2 turns, which can't be evaded or resisted. Whenever Rotta defeats an enemy, the cooldown of Shobo is decreased by 1 and all allies gain bonus protection, 40% stacking, until the end of the encounter. If Rotta was the only ally at the start of battle, he takes reduced damage from percent health effects and defeated enemies can't be revived. That almost sounds like a GL type thing. Takes reduced damage from percent health effects. That's a GL thing, and then defeated enemies can't be revived. I'm not sure if that's a GL thing, but the other part is. They're making him like a demi-GL? Inspiration. Rotta may be creating his own path towards his destiny now, but we felt we couldn't fully recognize where he's heading without also acknowledging where he came from. Okay, well, he came from Java. He didn't even come from anything, really. He got kidnapped when he was little. Didn't want to be associated with his father anyways. Like, what? Anyways, this one's not a real move. Unique to large characters. Doesn't do anything. It just means that you can't have allies in the allied slots. This character can be used in the allied slot or within a large character, and summons are prevented for allies. Yeah. Although, it is kind of weird because this makes sense in a five-man squad, but if he's going solo, in theory, I mean, you could have an ally that you bring along, or a summon if possible. It's only him and the other character. If you can do 5, you can do 2. You know what I mean? Anyways. Leader. For some reason, he has a leader. A legacy reforged. Final text. Hutt Cartel allies gain 50% accuracy and critical avoidance. Well, the 2 buffs I don't care about at all. 200% defense, 75% offense, 50 speed, and 40% tenacity. Wow, that is a lot of weird stuff. Because it's all over the place. 200% this, 75 that, 50 flat this, 40% this. But it's cool that it's a lot of things like that. It's just weird that it's all over the place. Anyways, Dark Side Hutt Cartel allies and Rotta gain 75% counter chance and 50% critical chance. Okay. That 75% counter is weird. So there's a 25% chance that he won't counter. Why? And then 50% crit chance. So that just really increases the chances of the crit happening. So that's solid. The first time each Hutt Cartel ally falls below 50% health, they gain damage immunity for 1 turn, recover 20% health and protection, and ally tanks taunt for 2 turns. What if the ally that falls below 50% health is a tank, though? Are they still going to taunt? So they're the ones dying, but they're going to taunt anyways? It's weird. Whenever a Dark Side Hutt Cartel ally or Rotta inflicts a stack of bleed or a thermal detonator on an enemy, they gain 5% turn meter and recover 5% health and protection. Oh. Okay, so you want to be throwing those thermal detonators non-stop and you'll be constantly healthy. And being able to take turns. I'm just thinking like Boosh. Boosh is a pro at launching them thermal detonators. Jeez, Boosh might work really well under Rotta. If Rotta the Hutt is the only ally at the start of battle, he gains 250% max health and max protection, 50% health steal, 25 speed. That's weird. Only 25 speed, so if he has a whole team, though, you get 50. Everything else was solid, though, until that. He can't be instantly defeated. Alright, sweet. That's something that the Wampa Omicron does not offer. He still can be instantly defeated. And whenever he is ability blocked, blinded, dazed, feared, or stunned, he dispels it. Okay. And inflicts a stack of bleed, max 6, and 1 thermal detonator on all enemies for 2 turns, which can't be evaded or resisted. Well, that's kind of funny. So whenever they do any of that to him, he's like, F you. You're going to bleed a little bitch, and here's a thermal detonator. And, oh, and by the way, this is for your whole team, since you want to do this to me. If it can't be dispelled, he also gains damage immunity for 1 turn, which can't be dispelled. What? If it can't be dispelled, he also gains damage immunity for 1 turn, which can't be dispelled. What is that supposed to mean? Why did they say that twice? So he gains damage immunity that can't be dispelled? Or what? The wording is very confusing. Anyhow, synergies. Inspiration. Rotta is forging his own path forward now, and in doing so, creating his own story. The name for this ability was inspired by this part of his character development. Fact and clarity, apparently nothing. But then there's closing thoughts, which is random as F. Designing Rotta came with a unique challenge because Galaxy of Heroes has plenty of ways to pin down a lone character. From the beginning, we wanted Rotta to capture the feeling of a true arena brawler who could stand on his own. Well, considering that Hutts are like slugs, he doesn't really stand per se, and keep the fight going. He's been a blast to play internally, and we're excited to see players throw him into some of the game's toughest matchups. Alright, community comments. What do we got going on so far? Not a moment wasted in complaining, shaking my head. What are we talking about? Oh, okay, so this is in response to somebody. Alright, well, I don't know what that person said. More spoilers. Used to, tunes wouldn't come out for 6 to 8 months. Movie hasn't been out a week. It's like Christmas decor being set out in April. Cash grab. This is very strange, I agree. Like, this movie just came out. We already have Rotta. And the other two as well from the movie. We got Grogu and those stupid little Babu Frick things. And I forget what the other kit reveal is, but it is very strange. Like, everything else, I don't know what the timeline is, but it usually is very delayed. I mean, look when we got Khmer. That was way after Acolyte ended. And we got, when did First Order, well, actually, that was kind of right away, the First Order stuff. But that was also when the game came out in general. But yeah, what was the other thing that took forever? Bad Batch, that wasn't right away. It's always a delay. Like, this does feel strange that it's so quick like this. I don't care about all the hate. Don't listen. He is already my favorite unit. And what a bleep unit. What spoilers exactly are you talking about? We knew Rotta would be Gladiator-like character from the trailers. It's called movie collaboration, Eugene. It's the movie premiere week is over. They are allowed to do this. They didn't spoil a single thing about the movie, so you can stop crying under every kit reveal. Leave your room sometimes. You could have watched the movie that way. This thick boy is gonna be fun. Why is he Hutt Cartel? Have you watched the movie? He was an enemy of the Hutt Cartel. The Hutts tried to kill him. That's what I said. Well, I didn't really say that, but I just said putting him as Hutt Cartel is very weird. Like, he's not Hutt Cartel. He's not. He disavows the Hutt Cartel. He wants nothing to do with the Hutt Cartel. So it is very weird that they're putting him as Hutt Cartel just because what? Because he is a Hutt. Just because his father was Jabba. Like, it is very weird. Then again, CG does do weird things like this all the time, where somebody's something just because, and it's like, alright. Or isn't something just because. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Rey at all. I don't like, actually, I just don't even care about her in general. But, technically, if you go by Disney's canon, she is all the Jedi. So if she's all the Jedi, why doesn't she have the Jedi tag? At least the GL version in this game. I don't know. Anyways, yet another inferior tune that is more powerful than Grandmaster Yoda. Rework Yoda. Okay. that's a weird complaint, but I would agree. Yoda does need a rework. Yoda sucks. I mean, for a character that's supposed to be as A, iconic as Yoda, and B, just should be super OP. He's Grandmaster. Any character that's Grandmaster status is super elite. And yet, Yoda sucks. The only thing good about Yoda is his second special, how it's annoying and gives everybody foresight and offense up and all this, but otherwise his moves are not that great. Yoda should be way better. So I do agree. It's very random though with this kit and everything, but I will say I agree. Yoda needs some work. Rotta dies at the end of the movie. No, he doesn't. He gets away safely. Yeah, I was a bit surprised he wasn't New Republic. See, now that would make more sense. I couldn't think of where to put him, but that, yes. Because doesn't he leave with Zeb? So, though his kit is pretty rewarding to run him alone, so maybe it was just a gameplay decision. Yeah, I don't know. These comments are not what I thought they'd be, though. I normally like when at least they kind of talk about it and say their opinions. They're kind of just fighting with that one guy and stuff, so they're kind of pointless. Anyways, Rotta the Hutt. First off, he was cool. I liked him in the movie. I liked how he was trying to forge his own path. It's almost like what Kylo was trying to do. You know, they make it so Kylo was torn with the Force. Oh, I want to turn back, but he never does until the very end. And it's just like, all right, this is lame now. It would have been cooler if he did this in, like, Force Awakens or maybe at the beginning of Last Jedi or something. Not now, but, you know, that was Rotta for real, though. He didn't want anything to do with the dark and what his dad was all about and stuff. So he was a cool character. And his kit, pretty solid. Especially when he's alone. Especially his leader ability when he's alone. Instant defeat immune. Woo! Anytime he gets any kind of stun or whatever debuff, it gets dispelled and he inflicts bleed on the whole team. Woo! All these heals and stuff from when bleed is expired. Woo! Potential. And it's also cool that you can just do it with one character. That'll be great in Grand Arena because you get the bonus points. Like when you use Wampa, you get those extra points for only having the one-man band. And that's what Rott is supposed to be all about. So that's solid. Anyways, yeah, pretty cool. I don't know what he's supposed to be, if he's a marquee or if he's a legendary or what. But this is what we got. A kit reveal for Rotta. And yeah, thanks for checking this one out with me. And until next time, I said see ya.